It's time for Homegrown Country with Dylan on your country 95.5 WTVY.
All right, back again for another episode of Homegrown Country.
All right.
J Cruz in the studio. What's going on, man?
Thank you, Dylan. I'm doing good, man. I got up like I told you this morning. And
Made you get up early.
Yeah, I haven't been up this early in a while, but it's good for me,
Yeah. Got to change it up and keep
Absolutely.
you on your toes.
all the time.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Where are you from? How long you been playing music? All that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, so I'll take you back to where I'm a Texas kid out of Fort Hood, Texas. Army brat, and then my dad. We went all over the world, stuff like that. Ended up at Maryland or DC at Walter Reed, and he retired out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's like, "Man, we're not staying in the city." And so we went up to it's called New Windsor, Maryland, and man, it was a big culture shock. Going from any military base or the city, and I mean manure, cornfields, I'm the only Jose, but it was cool, and then we moved out to Union Bridge, which is like maybe 15, 20 minutes down the road. And one of my songs, Simple Living, is like grew up in a house between two farms.
Mm-hmm.
Literally I had farms all over me.
Yeah.
Forest, cows, all that stuff. But that's where I claim Maryland and Texas. And, after Hurricane Michael, I'm a Florida man now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So what part of Florida are you in now?
I'm in Panama City Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on.
My wife said, we got to stay on the beach side. That's where we're at. I was like, well, thank goodness it was before Michael, because that was wild.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Got a little wet down there.
Yeah, it did. So, and then when I started music, I was in fourth grade, played the trumpet.
Okay.
And, I really love classical music, but everybody's always asked me, what kind of music do you like? I was like, man, Johann Sebastian Bach, and all the way to Marilyn Manson. I mean, that's a pretty big spectrum,
Right.
And so I just love all type of music. So I did that, and I was becoming a father, and I was like, man, what can I do? So I picked up a 6-string from a pawn shop, and then started picking on that, went to YouTube, because, I'm basically a doctor from there.
Yeah, right.
And then I went to a vocal coach to make sure I could sing, because I sounded pretty good at a karaoke bar just with everybody else too. Right, so I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like
a lot of people think they sound good at a karaoke bar.
I know.
I understand.
I was like, let me make sure.
Get a second opinion.
Yes. Let me phone a friend.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I did that, and then I did my first showcase. She had a lot of confidence in me, and I did it, and I was hooked, even though I forgot the words for the first 3 seconds of strumming, and then it just all came out.
Yeah.
I don't even remember it, but it went real fast, and I was hooked.
That's funny, man. That is I can relate to that feeling real hard, especially like when I got my band playing behind me or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I know this song, I've sang it 1,000 times. Here's my line, and I get up to the microphone, and I'm like, what was the word?
Yes. And
sometimes I just look over at my guitar player, and I'm like, what's my first word?
Yeah, sometimes you got to make it up.
Yeah, and the funny thing is he can say like one word, like it's beautiful or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, beautiful, crazy. Like here's the rest of the song. Like,
man, I know, it's
so
like
funny.
You have that brain fog, and you're there, you're like,
yeah,
and you like you said, you've played it a million times, and I'm sure other artists have done that. I mean, I've seen other podcasts where, like, if everybody's talking about like Morgan Wallen, right. I mean, he's forgotten words, and
he's got 900 different songs. There's no way he remembers all.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's why he has those teleprompters up there.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody always says, well, why do you use a phone or an iPad?
Right.
I'm like, I'm not a jukebox. I can't remember everything. Yeah. I try, and I'm still kind of new too, so my ADHD kind of gets the best of me. So I'm like, oh, what is this song? Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Next
time somebody asks you about why do you use an iPhone or why do you use an iPad, just tell them, because I can't afford one of those wedge monitors like Morgan Wallen and Alan Jackson use.
Absolutely. Yeah, I pointed that out at Gulf Coast Jam.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I was like, look, there's the monitor. I use the same thing, but they just can't see it.
Exactly. Everybody hates on or some people, other artists like to hate on other artists, which is a weird thing, but about using an iPad and an iPhone, and they're like, you just need to learn and memorize all the songs. I'm up there for 4 hours sometimes. That's a lot of songs.
It is.
And these guys, like, you getting mad at me for using an iPad, but then the guys that you're paying $600 for a VIP ticket, they're up there for an hour and a half
I know.
And they've got all the words right in front of them.
Sometimes only 45 minutes.
That's right.
That's what we're working for, though.
Yeah, exactly.
45
Yeah,
minutes.
right.
Give me that 45 minutes.
I was actually talking to somebody the other day. I think it was Theo Vaughn and Morgan Wallen's podcast. They talk about like how long Morgan's sets are. And I haven't sat down to do this yet, but I really want to clip those a little portion of that out and put it with my own video.
Oh yeah.
And just to point it out, because Morgan Wallen was like, I don't know, sometimes I'm up there for an hour and a half, and man, I don't want to play for no 2 hours. I don't want to, I'm tired. And I'm like, and here we are.
Yes.
Getting paid chump change for I'll sing you every one of Morgan Wallen's songs.
I know, because somebody will ask me, can you play Morgan song?
Yeah, I just thought it was funny, man, how some people, like a lot of people maybe don't even realize that, like that independent artists work really, really, really hard.
Absolutely.
As compared, not, I mean, maybe in some ways, in some ways maybe not, but as compared to the big name artists, like as far as our performance time goes.
I know, and especially like, you know, they play the same songs all the time, so and not saying they won't forget the words, because, you know, it happens all the time. But you know, if I could only have 20 songs to memorize, maybe 30 songs compared to a couple
of those
hundred
songs so good.
yeah, I know. I just have to look at the top. Oh yeah, I know this one's good to go. But you know, that's the goal. That's the dream, right? You work, you put your work in, and sometimes, you know, whatever you see the 45 minutes is only just a snippet. And our 4 hours, I mean, you look at it, it's probably 10 hours worth of work. We're practicing during the day. Then we got to load the truck up, and then we got to drive. We got to make sure, well, you have to make sure, hey, you guys going to make it on time?
Yeah.
You know,
and then you gotta be your own sound crew, your own load-in crew.
Oh man. I know this where these guns
sell your own merch. Like, you
try. I think, and I hate to try to sell myself all the time. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I got these t-shirts.
I'm bad about it.
You know, and now I put it on the website, and I'm like, it's still not selling because I'm not even like, hey, here's my website.
Me either. I pay $30 a month or something to have a Shopify website.
Yeah.
And I don't advertise. It's just costing me money.
I know.
And I'm like, I want it, like, I should close it down because I'm not selling any t-shirts off of them, not advertising it, but also I worked really hard to build it. So
yeah, you know, it's just like four-wheel drive in Florida. They say, even like all my friends were like, why do you need four-wheel drive? It's like, I'd rather have it and not need it, and instead of need it and not have it.
That's it.
So it's there when it's ready. So and another friend of mine, he was like, you know, you can always buy a piece of equipment and just buy bigger so you can grow into it. So that's basically what we're doing. You know what I mean? We're just trying to grow into it. So it's already there.
That's funny. I actually buying a bigger piece of I've always lived by that. I've always bought like way bigger than I needed. And then when I get into it, I'm like, this is the perfect size.
Yes. And then you're like, oh, well, we grew out of that one. Let's and what's the best piece of equipment? The next one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man,
that's how I bought my motorcycle. Like, I didn't even know how to ride a motorcycle.
Oh really?
Went into the motorcycle shop, bought a 1300 cc V twin.
Heck yeah!
Trailered at home and learned how to ride it in my driveway.
I mean, see, you're a doctor at YouTube as well.
See,
you know, so
exactly.
I figured it out.
I got my degree.
I mean, I've ridden bikes, man. I was taught by my neighbor when I was probably like 11 years old.
Yeah.
And my parents were getting divorced and stuff like that, but my neighbor didn't have anything. He had nothing but girls.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh, a son.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like,
I'll use this one.
Yeah. He was like, hey, if I remember that, like, I earned this first dirt bike. It was like a 81 XR 250, and it was slow even for a 250. But he was like, hey, if you do my brakes on my Jeep, you can earn it. And let me tell you, I was there for days with them drum brakes back in them days.
Gosh.
You know, I'd be banging on
drums are not fun.
So I earned it, but it was definitely fun. But I definitely almost killed myself a couple times.
Yeah.
It was my fault. Fault.
Oh, so tell me a little bit about your writing style. When did you get into writing music? So I know you've been playing music since you were little.
Yes.
When did you write your first song, and what inspired
that?
You know,
honestly, I wrote my first song. Man, probably 2022, maybe 23, because I recorded in 24. I was like, what would be my first song? You know, and you know, I have your whole life is an inspiration, and then you can even draw from other people's lives or experiences. So, you know, moving down here to Florida was a really big event for me because I didn't think I'd ever live here. I was spring breaked here in 2000, you
Yeah.
know, but I was like, you know what? I love love stories. I grew up on loving R&B, and I
Mhm.
just love that good old love story. So I was like, all right, well, let's write a song about my wife and how we met. And I called it Destiny and Destin. And everybody's like, man, is your wife's name Destiny? I was like, no, man, it's my destiny is
Yeah,
Destiny,
right,
you know? Like there's two parallels, you know, come on now. But it's just so my writing style was like I wanted to just be just a raw emotion,
Mhm.
you know. A lot of people that were like, hey, just rhyme. And you know, my songs probably don't really rhyme a lot, you know,
Yeah.
it's
That's
kind of
okay.
poetic, you know what I
Right, yeah.
mean? Trying to tell that story because I always tell everybody today's country is like 90s rap. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, 90s rap, they told stories about
Yeah,
their
oh, yeah.
life, you know, and
You
so
miss that in a lot of country
oh,
music these days, the story aspect of it.
exactly.
It's all
And
just beard and trucks and dirt roads.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to know, like, I mean, my first album that I finally released, but my first song is a story about how I met my wife.
Yeah.
I mean, look about my album, it's called Dreamer, and it's literally about my life, you
Yeah.
know. So I'm gonna continue to write about my experiences and some metaphors, or at least try to metaphor,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
right.
know. But yeah, I just wanted to literally just take you down like just a vision in my brain, like, oh, this is J Cruz, but Jose, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Mhm.
So
That's cool, man. I like that a lot. When you go in to write a song, uh, does it start with, like, a hook, or do you start with more like a melody in your head and then you add the lyrics to it later, or how does a song
my
start for
song
you?
starts without any words. I just go to my guitar, start picking things,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, well, I kind of like that. And then I'm like, all right, well, let's put some words to it. And usually I'd go the verses first.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, the choruses are always the hardest,
Oh, yeah.
you know. So I'm a procrastinator, so I'm like, oh, let me just hold that back there, you know,
Right.
you know.
Let's write a couple more verses. Yeah.
Yes, and eventually comes to me, but now what I want to evolve into is getting help from outside. And you know, everybody's like, oh, you should write a song by yourself. Well, I've done that,
Mhm.
and you're only as good as you,
Yep.
you know. So and if I say, hey, Dylan, hey, can you just look at this song, see what you think, and change it. If you want to change up some lyrics, just let me know, and
Mhm.
we'll go with it. And
Yeah, having a fresh set of eyes on something like that is nice because I might see a whole nother storyline that you didn't see that
exactly.
we can bring into life there, which
Yeah,
is pretty cool.
and being a part of the NSAI as well, like,
Mhm.
I went up to this, songwriters, symposium
Mhm.
and just opened my eyes to just like, "Hey, you know, you're only limiting yourself
Yeah.
to your own vocabulary, your own education, where, like,
Right.
everybody else." I know I'm not smart. You know, like, I'm smart in my own way, but,
Yeah.
like, there's other
We're YouTube
people. Yeah, yeah,
certified here,
exactly, yeah.
right?
But there's other people that, like, you know, they went to English class, which is I'm like, "Ooh, that's not for me," but,
Right.
you know, but we're authors, I guess, we're writers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't realize that.
You know, like, it's crazy. I'm like, I didn't even like English class, but here we
I was
are.
telling somebody the other day, they were asking me about my HVAC stuff, and they're like, "You
Mhm.
went to college for that, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, kinda. I didn't finish." And they're like, "You didn't finish?" I'm like, "Well, I took all the HVAC classes,
Yeah.
but I didn't take math and English, so so I don't have a degree."
Yeah, but it's crazy because, you know, like, you may not be good at the college math, but all the mathematics that you're doing at your job,
Right.
it comes easy because it's
Yep.
just a part of it, you
Yeah.
know. And I wish maybe you know, trade schools get a little better, you
Right.
know.
I don't have a degree in HVAC, but I've worked in it for 13 years, all because I
Yeah.
didn't read Shakespeare. Like,
But yeah, exactly. But you know what though? Like, I tell you what, I saw a sign not too long ago. Most trade people are making about $200,000 now.
yeah.
You know, because nobody wants to do it. So,
Mhm.
but you know what? At the end of the day, you probably do some side work and still, you know, get
Yeah.
that done. You know what I mean? So,
It's
which
not a
is
bad
awesome.
idea,
Yeah,
especially in this
yeah.
economy.
I got a couple friends that are HVAC guys, you know, and they're always great when it's broken.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know?
they're good friends to have.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your family life and how you balance all that with music and what you're doing now.
You know, so I tell you what, this happy spouse, happy house. You know,
Yeah.
like, I try to be happy, but you know, if it wasn't for the support of my wife and my daughter's right behind me too, but she's setting an example to be supportive of us and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And um, she's let it's not like she's letting me, but she is letting me chase my dream, you
Yeah.
know. And it's hard, especially when you're like, hey, honey, I'm gonna be a musician, and then like all I'm sure there's people everywhere else like, a musician, is he gonna make money?
yeah.
You know, is this a
guy's
real
crazy.
thing?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, what a deadbeat.
yeah. I'm like, man, do you not know? Like, I'm doing it, you know, but so that's really the core part of it, of her being there and being supportive. But I tell you what, it is a lonely road.
Yeah.
You know, so like this year I went out to Tombstone. My song Wyatt Earp is the official Wyatt Earp Day song.
Mhm.
And so I drove from here to Tombstone, but I stopped in Austin. And there's so many experiences that I have that I wish that they could just be there with me.
Yeah.
But I also don't want them to be there with me because it is so boring
Yeah.
to be on the road, you know, and I have a 6-year-old.
It's exciting. It's exciting for you, but then you think about them just sitting over there in the passenger seat.
Exactly.
They're not necessarily getting the same,
Yes. And I try to involve them like FaceTime and all that stuff,
Mhm.
and give them the highlights, because like it's not really a big highlight if you're on the road just talking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's a good experience for me. But I also learned this year real quick, it is lonely on that road.
Yes, it is.
But it still gives me some good gratification and good hope at the end of the day. And without them, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be here. As long as and further on with my other extended family, like my mom and my father and aunts, uncles, cousins, they all support me.
Yeah.
And I've met people that are not even family, and they're supporting me.
That's cool.
And it's sometimes it's kind of weird. Sometimes the people you don't know
Right, yeah.
support you more than
Yeah.
some of your family members. But it's really enlightening to see that when you're doing it good, it's like God's telling me, like, hey,
yeah,
you are doing it good.
Yeah, it definitely requires a good support system. That's for sure. Because yeah, you're right. Those lonely days, lonely nights on the road, sometimes they get too quiet, and when they get real quiet, you start questioning yourself, like, and not a lot of people are doing what I'm doing. Am I doing the right thing? I could be doing this and making more money, or doing, but happiness is really like a big thing that I've found, that um I mean, everybody chases happiness, right? And sometimes you walk down a path in life that you think is going to lead you to that, and then at the end of the road you find out that it ain't there.
Bruh.
So you got to pick a different road, and sometimes
Always
the
gotta
different
pivot.
road is scary.
It is very scary,
but rewarding at the same time.
it is, especially so, like, was it Chris Stapleton's one of his songs, I forget what is the title of it, but the tough roads, hard roads are worth choosing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And we can hear it on our head. But and I've always told everybody my whole entire life that if it's not hard, it's not worth it, because you're not gonna enjoy it. You're not gonna be fulfilled at the end of the day, because if it was easy, I'm like, oh well, I could just do this whenever.
Right.
But if you actually have to put your time into it, that means you're really invested.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then with, like, on the lonely roads and making sure that you're doing this good. I was watching a podcast with Cody Johnson, and he's one of my favorite artists right now. And he has been, but he's like, man, I've been on my knees plenty of time asking God, am I doing the right thing? And he always answers them. It may not be the right answer that he wants, but but he's always there saying that. And so, like, when I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, we're all I think everybody, not even in this profession, still does that same thing.
Yeah.
But we're passionate about it. And Luke Combs says, if I wasn't doing this, I'd still be doing
it.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. That's for sure. So where do you see music taking you? What are your aspirations? And
so I would say, like, my wife will tell you, actually, honestly, anybody that really knows me, I have always set my goals really extremely high. So I want to be number one. I want to be the number one artist, number one singer songwriter. And why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So and that's my goal and aspiration. And I only do that so my daughter sees that, like, I'm really working and grinding to get there, because I expect greatness from me, and I want to be that example so she can expect greatness from herself.
Right.
So that's my goal. If I'm number one in anything, as long as it's in her heart, and I get recognitions from some of my friends, which I have. I mean, I'm number one.
Yeah.
So but at the end of the day, I still want to have a legacy to where you know, I've done something impactful.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, once I am number one, I'm not gonna just like, keep it to myself. One of my biggest things I want to do is start a philanthropy. And
Okay.
yeah, so like I grew up poor, man,
Yeah.
like real poor. Um, where you know we were sponsored by like churches for holidays and stuff like that, and I went to soup kitchens, and I was
Right.
I had friends serving me food. I'm like, dang, this sucks, you
Yeah.
know. And then I was hanging around with the wrong people, you know what I mean? Like, and I got into a lot of trouble, and I was injured to the point where like I could have died, you know. And so this one nurse name's Sandy Van Dorn, I'll never forget her. And you know, she took care of me, and I was in the nurse's office all the time. And eventually I want to set up a foundation in her name.
Oh, that's cool.
So like kids that are in need,
Mm-hmm.
that their families just can't afford anything to get them some health care,
Yeah.
do that, you know what I
Very
mean?
cool, man. That's awesome. You got a good heart. That's
Trying to, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because you got to give back, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't want to keep it to myself. I mean, how many bosses have you had like, oh, my powers, my
Yeah.
knowledge, I'm not going to give you any of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's all of them pretty much.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, take my knowledge, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm trying to steal other people's knowledge. Well, I'm trying to steal yours a little bit too, you know? And I say steal
We're
is,
sharing it.
yeah. I'm like you might say something you didn't even know what you said. I'm like, oh yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
me, you
Mhm.
know. And but you know, I'm always just trying to learn and to give back, and that's my motivation in life.
That's
know?
cool, man. I like that.
Mhm.
I like that. So couple just random questions, I reckon. What so well, I don't know, you might not like coffee. Do you get up? You don't get up early a lot. So I was gonna ask you what your go-to coffee order is. Do you drink coffee? We'll start with that.
To be honest, I'm like one in a million that don't
Okay.
that in the
All right.
military. I there was a 3-month stint when I drank coffee,
Yeah.
and I got extremely sick. Hey, it probably
No
was the
way.
milk. It probably was the milk, but I was like, I'm
Okay.
never doing that again.
Yeah.
So, it smells. I love the smell of coffee. I do. I just, you know, the repressed memories is like
Oh, I can
PTSD. I ain't
understand
doing
that.
it. You
I can
know.
understand that. Yeah, I have a repressed memory. I can't stand the smell of skull wintergreen. If
Oh
you can probably
gosh.
imagine why.
Yeah. I'm sure, man. He probably turned green as well.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, that's funny. Cats or dogs?
I'm a dog boy.
Yep.
You know, I love dogs. Actually, we just lost our last little pup,
Oh,
but he was, man, this dude was a trooper.
yeah.
He was like 18 years old. I was like, dang, this dude is trying to go for the long haul. Let me get
Right.
to 2
He's setting a
decades.
record.
And at one point, you know, I told my wife, I was like, hey, you know, when's the quality of life going to
Right.
take
Yeah,
over?
you gotta.
This dude's out here all willy nilly, like, hey guys.
Yeah. Bless him.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a couple old dogs too. Oh man. So aliens. What about aliens?
Aliens,
How you
man.
feel about that?
They're definitely out there, man.
I think so too.
You know, so I've seen like the things going across the sky before. Like
Yeah.
you go out in West Texas, man,
Mm,
it's open out there, and it's definitely legit. And then, but you go back to like let's say cell phones,
mhm.
right? Within I don't know 10 years, went from or 20 years, went from this big block to this little guy, and
Right.
now we have computers in our pocket.
Mhm.
And then you go into fiber optics. Like where'd that come from? You know,
Yeah.
like there's definitely aliens out there. We just don't know where it's at.
Yeah, we ain't comprehending them yet.
But also, you know, during COVID, right?
Mhm.
So we had COVID would kill you. Then Hillary was she was guilty, and then oh yeah, COVID will kill you again,
Mhm.
and then killer bees are here, and
Yep.
then COVID will kill you, and then UFOs are real, and then COVID. I was like, whoa, let's go
Hang
back
on.
to the UFOs real quick.
You just glazed over that
I
one
know.
really hot
I
topic
was like,
there.
whoop,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's already something I kind of already knew,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, with this galaxy, all multiple galaxies, like there's got to be
So many
something,
other
unless
options
we're
out
in a
there.
jar with the poked holes. I mean,
Right.
maybe we're in a simulation
No.
and we're just ants. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
I
What about
like
you?
it. Yeah, I've never had any like confirming experience like that. But yeah, 110%. Like you look at how technology grows exponentially.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I feel like there probably is something else out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think maybe because they come around all our nuclear stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like that the radiation definitely has something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to tell us something.
That crop circles, like
Yeah.
how intricate those circles are. I mean, the farmer can't Well, no,
It would take days for somebody to do that, like
especially on a combine.
Yeah, right. Not happening.
It's crazy.
Not happening. Oh, that's good. Well, all right. So, you got any new music coming out? Anything you're working on right now?
I'm just writing on a couple songs. I got one, so that actually I had to ask permission if I can write this song because it's about a kid. His name is Hank, and one of my friends. They were pregnant a while back, and the doctor said, "Hey, something's going to be wrong with this baby. I think you should probably,
Right.
let it go." And she's very faith-based. She said, like, "No, I'm going to go 100% through with it." And so this kid, his name's Hank. He came out, and he had a lot of problems. You know what I mean? And for the first 2 years of his life, he was in the hospital. But one
Oh,
thing
wow.
I always saw this kid, by stronger than anybody I've ever seen in my life. He's always smiling.
Dang.
And I was,
Yeah.
and it inspired me to write a song. It's called Hank's Heroes, and all the people that kept him alive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And just faith and praying and all that stuff.
That's
And
good, man.
so I wrote it, sent her a rough of it, and I was like, "Hey, what do y'all think?" Because I don't want to.
Mhm.
This is very personal and
Right. Yeah.
touching,
Yeah.
and they started crying, and they were
That's
really
cool, man.
really awesome
I
with it.
love a song that really moves people like that. That's my favorite kind of song right
Yes.
there, the emotional ones.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love a good beer drinking song,
Yes. Yeah.
but the ones that can put a lump in your throat, that's my bread and butter right there.
Yeah.
I
And
like
so
that.
I think I need somebody like you to help me out with these beer drinking songs because, well, or anybody else because I'm all into my feelings all
Me
the
too,
time.
though.
I'm like I would love to talk about drinking, but then it always comes into like, how's it gonna make me feel? I want to make people
Yeah.
feel something,
Mhm.
and you're still feeling happy drinking beer and stuff like that on them
Yeah.
songs. But I'm more the R&B took a lot of
I'm a crier.
yeah. Oh man, man, and tear jerkers that get me all the time.
Yeah.
I did have a question for you,
Yeah.
because we talked about Rob Johnson,
Mhm.
and you just have a single came out too, right?
Spot in Mississippi.
Yeah, Spot in Mississippi. I saw your cover art on that. I was like, man, and I didn't even read. Well, I didn't have to know what you were talking about, and I already knew what you were talking
Yeah.
about. So what really brought you out to have that song out, man?
So honestly, that is one of my it's kind of a funny story. So I've always loved that story.
Mhm.
Oh Brother Where Art Thou, the movie.
Mhm.
He's portrayed in that movie as Tommy,
Yeah.
the guy that plays the guitar,
Yep.
and I love that. I've watched that movie 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's a great one.
So one day I'm scrolling TikTok and there's a guy on there that makes beats and stuff, and he posts them as like a verse challenge,
Right.
just a blank beat, and you can sing over it or whatever. And it was a very bluesy beat.
Mhm.
It was more of a rap style of
Right.
beat, but it just sounded real bluesy. And so I posted a TikTok where I sang the first verse of that song, and it kind of blew up a little bit,
That's
enough
cool.
to where I was like, I should do more,
Yeah.
and so I finished writing that song, and I thought about Robert Johnson, and he's a blues player that sold his
Mhm.
soul to the devil to be able to play the guitar. And the story goes that he was playing in the juke joints, and they ran him out of the juke joints
Mhm.
because he was not good.
Right.
And so he went to a crossroads in Mississippi, met the devil, sold his soul for the ability to play the guitar. And then when he came back to the juke joints, they said he was so good, it sounded like there was two people playing one guitar.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I was going to sell my soul to the devil for anything, we were just talking about
Yeah.
songs that move you, right?
Yeah.
I would sell it for the lyrics. I want every song that I write to be the best lyrics that move
Yeah.
people. Not necessarily the best guitar licks. There might not be some crazy solos in my songs, but my lyrics are going to hit you hard.
Yeah.
And so that's what that whole song is about.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I listened to it. I was like, man, he definitely he knows Robert
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah, I appreciate you looking into that.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
absolutely. Usually when I'm talking to somebody, especially like another singer-songwriter, and I want to know who they are. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
And how am I going to know you without getting to know you? Is your songs.
Exactly. Yep.
And
Yeah.
I've listened to a couple of your other songs, and they're pretty touching as well. So
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
yeah, I mean, let's see what else, man.
What about your tell them? So when's your next show, actually?
Oh man, so I got one tonight at the Old Florida Fish House.
Right on.
And so this week's pretty full. I'm pretty happy about it. And so I got Old Florida Fish House from 5 to 8. And I love those early shows. I get to go home and hang out with the family. Just maybe even just for a little bit. It's not 12.
Yeah.
You know,
I know we played this Sunday 1 to 5.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Get me home. I'm home in time for dinner.
I know, exactly. You know, and I saw that you were playing. I was like, oh, let me go catch them. And I was like, what? My family was like, no, it's Father's Day. I'm like, okay, all right.
That was a tough one.
I'll do it, but I'm going to come see you on Friday.
Yeah, come on out Friday, man.
So, so are you a cat or dog person?
I'm a dog person.
You're a dog person as well. Any specific dog?
I will say I've always been more of a purebred type person. I've got a black lab. I have a German short-haired pointer.
Oh, cool.
I have a Brittany Spaniel and a beagle.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's actually a Jack Russell beagle.
Yeah.
But I like big dogs.
Any like dream dog that you would want?
An Irish setter, a long-haired Irish setter.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's out of left field, but that's
cool. I know. You don't typically see those.
I want to get a Rhodesian Ridgeback. You know,
ooh, yeah, okay.
I'm not big into horse ghosts, but you know, being a Leo and they used to hunt, bred to hunt lions. I'm like, that's got to be a tough dog.
Yeah, right.
You know,
guardian for sure.
Yeah, I thought that'd be cool. And do you write with other people too?
So I have, yeah. The couple of the songs that we've got written and are working on recording now. I took my band to a beach house in St. George Island.
Oh yeah,
in January. So
cool.
Not beach weather.
Yeah,
but we went with the intent of locking ourselves in and writing songs. And so we went down there, and I think we stayed like 2 days, and we had the intention of writing one good song, like finished one good song, and we left with 4.
That's awesome.
It really, really worked out. We haven't done that since, and we really need to do that again, because every time we're like, we need to write songs, but scheduling the time and actually sitting down and doing it is the thing.
Especially busy season.
I was gonna say it's tough when everybody's wanting you to come play music, and you're like, well, I could go make $300, or I could sit and not make $300.
That is tough too, because that's gonna be like, you get the instant gratification, or you're gonna get delayed gratification, right? Mm-hmm. And it is definitely a balance. The next time you guys lock yourself in, please invite me, because I'll bring a bottle and we'll get our thoughts going. You know what I mean?
I like it.
Because like we were talking before, like, you know, the more people you have, the different perspectives and life experience you have, and like, wow, that's not what I ever would think. Right. So I definitely want to do that.
Absolutely, man. I think I'd love to get together and write something. I think
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we get a couple other people too. Try to. I know you had Gage and Riley on here. I know they're busy too, and
I'd like to get a group of these guys that we've done these podcasts with together, and
that'd be a rowdy time.
That would be. It would be for sure. There would be no shortage of entertainment.
No, there'd be a lot of strings buzzing.
I heard that. Well, heck yeah, man. Well, thanks for joining me for another episode of Homegrown Country. Loved having you on, and as soon as you whenever you put out some songs, you make sure to send them our way.
Oh, I definitely will, and thank you for having me out here, Dylan. Man, it's just been an honor and great opportunity to come out here and talk with you and learn from you and network.
Absolutely.
Because you know what, your network is your net worth.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's the main part of of music, is networking. It is. It's a lot about who you know sometimes.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining me.